Today we will talk about 10 important rules of Stoic philosophy that can become a reliable compass in our daily existence. After all, Stoicism offers not just a set of rules, but a way of life based on wisdom, introspection, and deep respect for oneself and the world around us. In life, we often encounter circumstances that are beyond our control. These may be misfortunes, losses, changes that we do not like, but with which we nevertheless have to put up with. This is the first of the Stoic rules, acceptance of what cannot be changed. The wisdom of the ancient Stoics is reflected in this simple but powerful truth. By developing the ability to accept the inevitable, we are freed from anxiety and fear of the inevitability of change. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors and Stoics, said, "Take what you can, accept whatever happens." This phrase becomes not just motivation for us, but also an instruction for a reasonable, prudent approach to life. Accepting the situation does not mean inaction or a passive attitude towards life. It is rather a release from unnecessary emotions and the direction of energy on those aspects that support and develop us. After all, as Seneca taught, the meaning of acceptance is not to suffer from what cannot be changed. Applying this rule requires us to be flexible and adapt to change. Instead of wasting valuable time and energy resisting adversity, we can use it to find a way out or find new opportunities in a new situation. As we become masters of acceptance, we become wiser, stronger, and more capable of justice. This property helps us not only overcome difficulties, but also benefit others. And so, by facing life with the wisdom of the Stoics, we find the strength to see and appreciate the lessons that every day brings us, regardless of its nature. And in this wisdom lies the key to inner peace and harmony. Remember the words of Epictetus: "We do not provide ourselves with things, but value things in the way we think about them." Thus, accepting the unchangeable helps us face the world with wisdom, understanding, and prudence. The second of the Stoic rules, control over our emotions, is a powerful weapon that allows us to become masters of our own souls. Emotions are powerful forces, but without proper management, they can become our enemies. Seneca said, "People are not poor until they begin to desire more than they have." This quote reflects the truth that our emotions and desires can make us strive for something more, but they can also lead to disappointment and unhappiness if left unchecked. Controlling emotions does not mean denying or suppressing feelings. This means being mindful of your emotions and learning to respond to them wisely. We can't always control events, but we can always control how we react to them. Anger, envy, fear, bitterness are emotions that can destroy us if we give them power over ourselves. However, as Epictetus said, there is nothing wrong except mental laziness and lack of determination. We can develop our determination and mental discipline to resist negative emotions and transform them into strength for our own development. Applying this rule requires practice and patience. You can start by being aware of your emotions, recognizing their causes and consequences. Then learn to control your reactions using methods of meditation, breathing exercises, and psychological self-regulation. Controlling our emotions frees us from much suffering and allows us to make wise decisions. As Marcus Aurelius said, he needs someone who does not control his feelings, for his life will be nothing other than the life of a slave. And so, by applying the second Stoic rule, we become masters of our own emotions, and the path to inner peace and wisdom becomes clearer and more accessible. Our emotions no longer dominate us, and we can realize our highest goals and ideals. The third Stoic rule warns us against needless worry and worry, reminding us to focus only on what is within our control. What does it mean to focus on what is within our control? This means not wasting precious energy on things and events that are beyond our control. We cannot change the past, control other people's actions, or predict the future, but we can influence how we feel about these events. Applying this rule will help you find inner peace and freedom. You stop worrying about what you can't change and start actively working on what really depends on you. We develop our skills by striving to be the best version of ourselves and make decisions that align with our values. As Marcus Aurelius said, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one immutable truth. Some things are within our control, and some are not. By focusing on what is within our control, you learn to act wisely and face life's challenges with courage. This rule will also help you not to dwell on past mistakes or indulge in anxious thoughts about the future. You must live here and now, appreciate the moment, and move forward with determination and confidence. Application of this rule opens the way to inner freedom and wisdom. We stop being victims of circumstances and become active creators of our own lives. The fourth Stoic rule, live in accordance with nature, sounds like an invitation to harmony and wisdom in our lives. This rule brings an important reminder that we, as part of nature, must strive for natural harmony in our thoughts, actions, and values. The wisdom of the Stoics is to recognize that nature does not always follow our wishes. You can try to control the world around you, but there are forces that you cannot influence. According to Epictetus, first telling yourself the truth and then following it is the rule of philosophers. Living in accordance with nature means accepting the laws of nature and learning to adapt to them. You can strive for well-being, but you must realize that this well-being may not always be achieved the way you want. For example, the Stoics taught that pain and suffering are part of human life, and it is important to accept them as an integral part of the path. How to apply this rule in life? Let's start by accepting the world as it is and stop resisting natural processes. This does not mean passivity, but rather an active desire to adapt and grow with change. You can also apply this rule to your desires and values. Instead of endlessly striving for material achievements, you can pay more attention to spiritual and ethical development. Living in accordance with nature means living with wisdom, peace, and harmony. This brings confidence and deep meaning to our lives, and as Marcus Aurelius said, the best remedy against oblivion is a happily lived life. The fifth Stoic rule, develop wisdom and intelligence, calls us to constantly improve ourselves and strive for moral qualities. Embedded in this rule is the idea that our character and moral development play a key role in achieving happiness and well-being. Seneca said, "People can be happy, even if their circumstances are not very favorable, if they have internal virtue." This statement emphasizes that true happiness does not depend on external circumstances, but rather on our attitude towards them and our inner world. Virtues include qualities such as justice, wisdom, courage, moderation, and friendliness. Applying this rule means constantly improving these qualities in yourself. How can you apply this rule in everyday life? It is important to start with introspection and self-awareness. Assess your qualities honestly and impartially. It's much easier to improve when we understand where we have room for improvement. Next, set goals for your moral development. You can ask yourself the question, what qualities would I like to develop in myself? Maybe you want to become more tolerant, compassionate, or fair. Constantly work on yourself in everyday life. Learn to be fair and prudent in your decision-making. Practice mercy and friendliness towards others. Develop your wisdom by learning from your own experiences. By applying this rule, you will strive for moral perfection and create a better version of yourself. It reminds you that character is the real wealth that no one can take away from you. The sixth Stoic rule, be grateful for what you have, teaches us to appreciate and rejoice in what we have in the present moment. This rule reminds us of the importance of gratitude and the ability to find joy in small things. Seneca said, "Happiness does not consist in external conditions, but in a mind satisfied with what is." How can you apply this rule in life? It's important to start by recognizing what you already have. We often tend to focus on what we lack instead of appreciating what we have. Practice gratitude regularly. Every day, think about what you can be grateful for. These could be moments of happiness, support from friends and family, health, and opportunities to learn and grow. Applying this rule will help you find satisfaction in simple joys and make your life more fulfilling. We stop evaluating happiness and success only through the prism of material achievements and begin to appreciate the richness of the soul and moments of joy. The ability to see beauty and joy in everyday things makes us happier and more fulfilled. As Epictetus said, in essence, there is no such thing as misfortune. There are only different points of view on things. Applying this rule motivates us to live with respect for the moment, enjoy life to its fullest, and see gratitude as the key to inner peace and joy. It brings harmony into our lives and helps us create a positive attitude in all circumstances. The seventh Stoic rule, cultivate inner calm and peace, emphasizes the importance of inner balance and conscious control over one's reactions to external events. This rule helps us not only become stronger and wiser, but also maintain harmony within ourselves, despite the storm of external circumstances. Seneca said, "The most important enrichment is the wealth of the soul." How can you apply this rule in everyday life? It is important to start with the practice of inner peace. This may include meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, or other techniques that help you find inner peace and tranquility. Try to respond to external events with peace and control. Instead of letting emotions and stress take over, teach yourself to remain calm and think about the situation with a cool head. As Marcus Aurelius said, "A strong spirit dominates external circumstances." Applying this rule motivates us to work on ourselves and develop inner strength. This allows us to look at the world with wisdom and calm, even in difficult moments. Inner peace is the source of our strength and confidence. As Epictetus said, "It depends on you whether you deserve to become a happy person, a saint, a good person, or a bad person." Applying this rule helps us choose the path to inner peace and tranquility and become the best version of ourselves. The eighth Stoic rule, "Constantly work on yourself," warns us against stagnation and calls for continuous self-improvement. This rule reminds us that development and growth are not only desirable, but also essential aspects of human life. Marcus Aurelius said, "There is always something to learn." This statement emphasizes the idea that we should never stop in our desire to learn and grow. How can you apply this rule in life? It's important to start by setting goals and working towards them. Set ambitious but realistic goals and develop plans to achieve them. These could be goals for professional development, personal life, physical activity, or spiritual growth. Pay attention to training and self-education. Reading books, participating in seminars, learning new skills are all ways to grow intellectually and spiritually. As Epictetus said, "No one can steal knowledge from you." The application of this rule allows us to be active creators of our own destiny and not allow passivity and comfortable stagnation. Self-improvement requires effort and patience, but it also brings us deep satisfaction and a sense of fulfilling meaning. As Seneca said, "Every day we must strive for better." Applying this rule helps us not only become better people, but also live more consciously and with purpose. The ninth Stoic rule, "Practice self-restraint and self-control," reminds us of the importance of controlling ourselves and our desires. This rule encourages us not to allow our passions and impulses to control our decisions and behavior, but instead to strive for wisdom and self-discipline. Seneca said, "What you think, that is what you are." The quote emphasizes the importance of managing your mind and emotions. Practicing self-restraint and self-control helps us to be more aware and control our reactions to external influences. How can you apply this rule in life? It's important to start by being aware of your weaknesses and tendencies. Each of us has our own weaknesses and temptations. Try to identify them and develop strategies to overcome them. Teach yourself to control your emotions and reactions. Before you react to any event or take any action, stop for a moment and ask yourself, does this action align with my values and the best version of myself? Set priorities and stick to them. This helps you avoid entertainment and activities that may distract you from your goals and values. Applying this rule helps us to be more responsible and self-disciplined. It allows us to control our lives rather than letting them control us. As Epictetus said, "No one can harm you without your consent." Practicing self-restraint and self-control makes us wiser, stronger, and more capable of achieving our goals. The 10th Stoic rule, "Strive for wisdom and intelligence," emphasizes the importance of constantly learning and developing your mind. Seneca said, "Study all your life until your last day." The quote expresses the idea that learning and growth should accompany us throughout our lives. How can you apply this rule in life? It's important to start by recognizing that we always have something to learn and ways to improve. Establish a habit of constantly reading, learning new skills, and exploring different areas of knowledge. Strive for critical thinking and analysis. It is important not to take information on faith, but to contribute to your development by searching for truth and a better understanding of the world. Develop your intellectual and spiritual sphere. Meditation, philosophical reflection, and discussions with others can help you expand your mind and gain wisdom. Applying this rule motivates us to be active students of life and strive for knowledge and wisdom. It helps us develop our minds, enrich our inner world, and make more conscious and wise decisions. Wisdom and intelligence give us the tools to better understand the world and ourselves. As Epictetus said, our ideas and beliefs are the only things we really control. The pursuit of wisdom and intelligence makes our lives more meaningful and fills it with deep truths.